welcome. My name is Carl Johann Schroeder. I'm a spiritual teacher and a life coach, and it's been my passion to develop a system I call Inner Selves Mastery, which teaches how to work with your inner world to improve your life on all dimensions. So today, I'm going to give to you the second of a series I call My Master Tips, which is not to say I'm such a master, but that we're all here to learn from each other to be masters, how to master this world, how to make our lives full of love and success, joy, wealth, and health. So today's topic is life wasn't supposed to be so hard, and it wasn't. And it is hard. I remember years ago there was a book I read where the first line, famous line was, "Life is hard." And I got angry at that because life isn't supposed to be hard, but it's true, it is. It is currently hard. It has been hard. It will continue to be hard for many people. And at times we will run into parts of our life that will be very hard. But we're here to learn tools, how to improve life, how to make this world more fair, more right, more just, more full of love and wealth and health and prosperity for everyone. That's what would make us all happy, individually and collectively. So let's talk about why is life currently hard and how can we change this? Well, it's true, it is hard, and we want to have compassion. We want to be caring people. We don't want to shut ourselves off to the suffering of the world, which is what many people do. And deep down, I believe all human beings are so good. You are so beautiful, so amazing. You are a soul being who's come here to develop your gifts and talents, to enjoy your own life, and to offer what you have to give to others as well. So I believe all human beings are deep down good and caring and loving. But we're trained how to shut ourselves down, to be scared of opening up because we'll be dragged down into all the suffering that's out there, and then that develops suffering in here. Now, in my first Master Tips video, I talked about how to make your emotions work for you. And I really suggest going back to that, but you can watch this anytime too, where we're going to refer to some concepts in that, because in that video I talked about how emotions are something you can work with. They're a gift. They are a key to your energy. You need your emotions. And we've been raised to believe that some emotions are good and some emotions are bad, and you should run away from the bad ones. And that basically locks in the suffering. So in that video, I talked about techniques as well as a model for understanding where emotions come from and how to feel your emotions. And I suggested that you need to be brave, you need to be courageous to face your feelings, because throughout your life you could run into any situation. Emotions are patterns of energy. So I even gave an example of how I had recently had a lot of fear. So I do what I call as an emotion meditation. For 20 minutes, I really feel the feeling. And then I change the subject. I go do something fun. And that builds your sense of mastery. I am bigger than my emotions. I can run this energy. I can run my life. I can ask for what I want. But I don't ask for what I want in denial of what I have. You need to embrace what you have. And that's a key to getting past the suffering, is embracing what you have. Don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to start where you are. Be in that present moment. Like the Buddha talked about. The Buddha talked about the root of suffering is a clinging, is a desperation people have to be happy and to not have the bad things, the things that they don't want. We become very judgmental, and we're raised to do this. We're raised to believe that some things are good and some things are bad, and we chase after the good. But what happens is, even if you're, born lucky, born rich, whatever, and you always have good things, even when you have good things, you always, deep down, you're afraid, you're insecure, because your happiness depends on the world out there. So what happens when things change? You're always afraid, you're always insecure. You need to have your happiness come from deep within, from the source. There is a source within you. There's a source of your creativity, of your love, of your genius, of your brilliance, of your sense of purpose, of your sense of destiny. What drives you? What wants you to improve your life? What wants you to love yourself and to love others and make this world a better place? There is a source for all of that. It's within you. Get in touch with that source, so that you aren't just a person who's happy when things are going well, and then you crash and feel awful as soon as things don't go your way, and you become controlling. There's a lot of controlling in this world. The domination culture, I call it. That's the culture that is built up from all these beliefs, all these negative thoughts that say things like the world is against you, the world is not your friend, the universe doesn't care, God doesn't exist, or if he does exist, he's cruel, all this stuff. These are thoughts, these are beliefs that cause you to suffer. You see, we're raised to believe that we're quite powerless, but in fact we're incredibly powerful, immensely powerful. Not because we can do anything at any time, but because we have free will. We have a sovereign choice. We can make pivotal decisions in our lives that the universe will respect. There's been a lot of talk of the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is built upon this. You make decisions for where to move, which way to pivot, what to look for, which direction to look to in your life. You hold a vision, and the universe, the world around you will respond to your energy. You will attract the things that increase the direction you're going in. Momentum of life will build naturally. So you want to take charge of that. Don't let the law of attraction work against you and cause you to snowball into all kinds of suffering. Work with the law of attraction from the position of mastering your inner world, mastering these thoughts and beliefs, so that you can make law of attraction work for you and you can handle more and more of the hard situations in life. Because I didn't want to imply in my first video that you will always have to be courageous and struggle and have to face the hard things and then work it through and then it happens again and again and again. No, life gets better. You see, if you were focused on the outside world and that cause of suffering that says, I don't have much power, it's the world that has power and I have to control it and I have to please it, I have to obey it and I have to play all these games of manipulation, then you suffer and you never build up a true sense of power. You never build up a true sense of confidence. And then, indeed, your emotions will be up and down all the time. But when you tune into your inner world and practice the techniques that I talk about and others talk about to master that inner world and change your beliefs and incrementally improve your life, open up to new paradigms, open up to new possibilities. You work through your emotions, you work through your life, you do that shadow work, they call it. The shadow side, the things that people don't want to look at until they have to, or you can be proactive and chip away at your blockages and your problems. You do that, and then you know what? Things do get better. My lows have gotten higher and my highs have gotten higher. I used to be a basket case, okay? Even though I was a very spiritual person all my life. You see, none of this suffering is a judgment on you. Some of the most beautiful, wonderful spiritual people, they have beautiful, wonderful ideals of life, but they still are caught in the suffering web of expectations and beliefs that a lot of people out there have more power and they're out to get them and they're going to ruin their life and I'm so scared of what will happen. And there's no shame on you if you get caught in these webs of negative belief and negative expectation. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it does mean you need to work with it. Change it. Lead with your heart. It's like, I know that life should be better than this. And that's why this is called Life Wasn't Supposed to Be So Hard. And indeed, the world has changed a lot, hasn't it? We've gotten this pandemic that forced people inward and really caused this global wake up of like, things are getting serious here. Now, we all could have had a global wake up years ago with climate change. We could have cared more about that. But a lot of people said, well, I'm okay. It'll be other places. But the pandemic swept the world so that everybody realized all at once, we're in this together. There's a sense of collective need to face the problems within. Now, this can go both ways when you have a worldwide global problem, a sense of crisis of the climate change that we have yet to face or the pandemic that's ongoing. You can become more paranoid, you become more powerless feeling, or you become more powerful feeling and realize that, I don't want to just keep doing the 9-to-5 regular routine. I don't want to keep plugging through every day and jumping through hoops and pleasing people and trying to get money and get a little security. I want to stop that system, that old system that had a lot of suffering baked into the cake. I want to change. I want to find a new way to live because I care. I want to change this world. And a lot of you out there, you're going to be listening to this and you're going to be excited because you know that you're on track of your destiny. You're on the track of your soul. You're on the track of incredible purpose, your dreams. Ever since you were a child, all of us have always had a sense of our deepest dreams, our deepest destiny. Just a question of how much we were allowed to believe that and allowed ourselves to believe that. But you're going to bring that out more and more. The world is changing because you're changing. So let's talk about this idea of life was not supposed to be so hard. What does that mean, supposed to? Now, a lot of people are very angry at God. This idea of what? Life is supposed to be a certain way. No, life is just chaos. Life is suffering. Just make the best of it. But you've got to believe, no, this world was designed deliberately, supposed to be. That means there's a design, there's an intention behind it. You create your own reality. You have incredible power within you to design your life from the inside out. Yes, many things out there cause you great grief and stress, and sometimes you'll fall straight into it and you'll have to go through a period of great trials. But the more you tune into your inner source, the more you won't be such a victim of the outside circumstances. And then, like I said, you still may have to face fear, but it'll go quickly and you won't believe in it so much. And then when there's love and there's some opportunity shows up, some golden synchronicity, you won't be one of these people who say like, well, that was just luck, that'll go away. No, you're like, that's real, that's what it's meant to be like. That's life, that's real life. You will decide, you will hold on to a vision of what is real and pull that in. So yes, the universe was designed to be easy, to be fun, to be enjoyable. So why is it so full of suffering? Well, perhaps let's talk about what suffering is, okay? Start with the concept of pain. Now that we talked about, there are many emotional states, okay? The contractive ones that people like to think of as the bad ones, but they're really just very uncomfortable. And pain is extremely uncomfortable. Pain is a simultaneous longing for and separation from. It's when you want something and you're separated from it. You think about this. There's physical pain. When you have an injury and you can't do what you want and it actually physically hurts, your body is wounded. And then there's emotional pain. We feel it especially when relationships that we really counted on, someone we really love, they leave us in one way or another. There's great emotional pain there. Also emotional pain of being invalidated, rejected, humiliated, lonely, all kinds of emotional pain. There's mental pain. What is mental pain? That is when you have images and thoughts come to you that are violent, that are painful, that are awful. You're cringing. A lot of people are in great mental pain. Again, don't feel any shame. It's not a shame on you, okay? You don't have to feel shame. You may feel shame. You may have to work through it. But honestly, just see pain for what it is. It's a separation from what you know you want. You want peace. You don't want awful images coming to you. Obsessive, compulsive, scary images coming to you. You don't want that. And then there's spiritual pain. When there's a sense of meaninglessness. When people just have no sense of purpose and no value and they become easily manipulated. A lot of people go to extreme hate movements, not because necessarily they were raised that way or they really believe in that, but because they're hurt, they're lonely, they're desperate for a sense of purpose, of belonging. And a lot of cults and a lot of demagogues prey upon the neediness of people. There are a lot of forces out there that will take advantage of you, and you may get sucked in for a little while, but then keep coming back to your center, the way you know life should be better than this. So yeah, pain. And then what is suffering? Suffering is endless pain. No hope of solution. No hope of ever getting beyond this pain. Well, you don't have to suffer. You may have to feel pain at times, but you can work on it and you can have hope. You don't have to suffer. Buddha was very right in talking about the end of suffering. It's very critical. It means having that hope, that sense of, I don't have to keep feeling this pain. Now, the thing is, society, that domination culture, that culture of like so many disbeliefs and disempowerment, and people become needy and desperate and they manipulate each other. We've all been divided and conquered in that society, that culture. How does that culture deal with pain? Because pain is a fact. It's going to exist, especially if the culture preys upon you. Well, we're taught numbingness. We're taught to numb. We're given pain relievers. That is the old culture's solution to pain. Not to end the suffering, not to heal the pain, but to give you pain relievers so you become numb. Become numb to this part of your life. Become numb to that part of your life. Keep doing your job. Keep focusing. Keep doing what we tell you to. which just increases the pain. So what happens is people get sick, people die, or people have all kinds of mental and emotional illnesses. A lot of people become suicidal in one form or another, like extreme risk-taking, extreme sports, that just unnecessary risk-taking. A lot of people out there, basically, you can see they have a death wish. And people follow demagogues and they follow extreme cults and all kinds of destructive lifestyles because deep down they have a death wish. They're trying to end that suffering, end that pain. And the society has taught them addictions to extreme belief systems and extreme behaviors and substance abuse, anything to end your pain. And that is the way of disintegration. That is the way of death and suffering. So you got to turn away from that. So we're talking about what's the alternative to pain that is never ending and the suffering. The alternative is discomfort. Be uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to do the emotional work, the shadow work. It is uncomfortable to grow spiritually, but it's so worth it. So what happens is if you're willing to face the truths, if you're willing to talk to the source, to talk to your inner ideals and say, my life is not supposed to be this way. Help me, please. What will happen is something magical. You will have a response. You'll have an idealism come up in you. You will have guidance. You have guidance always. You are guided. You are loved by the source. You just don't always tune into it. You will tune into it more. And what happens is your human being, because I talked about this before, there's this great quote from Teilhard de Chardin. He says how you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're not a human being having a spiritual experience. This means that you are a spiritual being. You are not this physical body. You are not something that just lives on earth. You are guiding your human being. You live inside your human. Take care of yourself. Self-love, self-care. So you develop that relationship with yourself. And what happens is something amazing. If you're willing to face your growth, to face the uncomfortable, the pain that needs healing, and you can find ways to heal it, you don't suffer. You have a hope that guides you further. You have what I call the meta joy. You have a greater sense of understanding that even though this is hard, it's improving. Each day gets a little better. And what's more, your human self has a tolerance. You're amazing, our bodies have an amazing ability to heal and tolerate pain, but we need to make that work for us. If we tune into endless suffering, if we lock into the suffering culture, the domination culture, we become more and more sensitive to the pain that then needs to be numbed, and we go down that spiral, that death spiral of numbing ourselves. But if you're willing to face the discomfort and heal the pain, your human being actually comes to your rescue and says, basically, thank goodness you're here to help me. And yes, I will shoulder this burden. I will handle this. You will handle things day by day. You will handle it. You will get by. You can say no to all those fears that are way out there. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And then this and that. You'll tell yourself more and more, no. I'm focusing on today. I'm focusing on one step at a time. Life will not always be this way. It'll keep getting better. So you'll have survivability, I call it, from your human self. You'll be able to handle things and tolerate things, and you'll have discomfort, but it'll be survivable. And you'll have this vision, this meta-joy, this greater source, this sense of guidance, of knowing that life is meant to be better than this. And there is a direction of permanent healing that can happen. So let me bring out this image, this diagram that I did in the previous video. Okay, I know this is fantastic art, and I'm going to do a separate video just explaining how you can draw stick figures like this. Haha, yes. But seriously, we're talking about here's the source, pouring in love, pouring in guidance for you. This is what people call God or just flow. This is their inspiration. Everybody has it. Everybody has a sense of their idealism and sparks of inspiration in their muse and their guidance. Just people call it by different names and then try to force their idea of it on other people, and that leads to suffering. Focus on what works for you. Find that source, that inspiration, those peak moments in your life, and let that energy guide you. And here you are on the earth. Here's the human being, okay, on the earth. And you got 4 levels that you're trying to align. This is where you're working as a spiritual being. You're working between the source, between God, Goddess, Great Spirit, Creator, and your human being, your human creature on the earth that you're taking care of. and guiding to a better life. And you're working to align your physical experiences with your emotional experiences, your feelings, with your mental experiences. That's where the thoughts and beliefs can block the spiritual energy. And the spiritual level is the level of your inspirations and values, those ideals that then connect to levels beyond that truly are there. God is real, okay? A lot of people think that God or Great Spirit or Creator or Goddess or whoever you want to call it, they think it's absent because what God would allow this suffering in the world? But God doesn't allow it. God just respects your free will, your ability, your decision as a creator that you want to be the filter on God. God is always there caring. The source is always there caring. You need to turn to it. You need to believe it's there. You need to listen to it. You need to work with it step by step by uncomfortable step, but improving day by day. So with these levels, you can work through and you can change your life. And I know, it works, but it does take time. It may not take unbearable amounts of time. It doesn't have to take unbearable amounts of time, but it will take steps. Better than time, let's just say steps. Because honestly, time is your friend. Many people think of time as slowing them down in their way. No, time is your friend. It's the steps. Focus on the steps that you need to do. So here's what I want to do. I want to introduce a new image for what it is we need to change and fix to become the masters of our life. Okay, so again, there's that image of here's the earth, and here's your human being, your person on the earth. Little smiley face there. And over here we have this source solutions, the inspiration, the guidance, super source, super flow. And you have to work with it. You have to align yourself. Abraham Hicks is just one of the great channeled spiritual teachers today. And Abraham Hicks talks about it. It's like you ask and it's given. Whatever you need in life, whatever you long for and ask for, it's given. The source immediately responds. But you then have to do the work of aligning yourself. You have to change your beliefs so that you believe that the source is even real and that there's guidance for you. You have to believe that there are opportunities for you. You have to believe that when you see other people happy, you could be there too. Many people get stuck on jealousy and impossibilities they feel. So, what I want to do now is draw similar to what I had before, but a little more of a perspective drawing. So, okay, so we need 4 levels here. 2, 3, 4. Okay? And let's see, had those colors I used. So this is the physical here. This first one. And the next one I like the green color. This is the emotional plane. It's actually a world in itself, your emotions. This is where you discover that you're a vibrational being. You are not a physical being. You're an energy being, a vibrational being. And let me note something. As a vibrational being, you are sensitive to direction. Okay? As a physical being, your human being is more like an animal, a creature of the earth. Creatures, animals, they're very sophisticated. They have thoughts and feelings and all that stuff, but they don't have the same sense of time and of choice and of free will that you have. As a spiritual being, you are planning your life. You are able to compare the present to what could be. As a human being, you're in the present moment. So just focus on the human being is that part of you that is sensing how things are right now. And if you take care of yourself, if you always have a sense of loving yourself and caring yourself, even when things are hard, your human being will be happy. It's like having a pet that wants to know that the master is there to take care of it. And the pet is happy to go through some hard times with you as long as you're there for it. But as a spiritual being, you're actually a vibrational, emotional, energetic being. And you're sensitive to location. You're sensitive to direction. You're sensitive to whether or not you're pointed to the source. If you're pointed to the source, you'll feel good. If you're pointed away from the source, you'll feel bad. If you're looking at the physical world and thinking the physical world and other people are my source of happiness, you're going to feel deep down very insecure. And even when things are good, you'll feel insecure. You won't feel good. And then, of course, when things are bad, you'll fall apart. You've got to point to the source. So as a vibrational being, you align yourself, you point to the source, you'll have a sense of vision, of destiny, of a dream, and you'll feel good. You'll be going in that direction. And then your physical human being will find itself being gifted, being given by the universe what it needs today, what it needs tomorrow, step by step every day. So the next plane, the next level is that mental I talked about. Okay, here's the mental level. And then the final one was the spiritual. Okay, so I'm drawing it with a little perspective this way because I wanted to draw something I call the dark castle. Now, that sounds spooky and kind of glamorous, right? Well, it's meant to sound glamorous at first because that's the way negativity is. The dark castle, it's a conglomeration of all your negative beliefs, all your defenses, all your ideas of the terrible things that could happen and how you have to protect yourself. There's this thing here, okay? It's on the mental plane. On the mental plane. It's comprised of your beliefs. All the stuff that says life is hard, you don't have power, you need to work hard, and maybe you'll earn some things, maybe you'll get some power, but it's the physical, emotional, mental, it's at the mental plane. And then the spiritual is beyond it. So at first it sounds appealing and it's exciting and it's a dark castle. And this is where negativity comes from. We were born beautiful and innocent, and then very quickly we absorb all the negativity around us. We realize, well, this is a dangerous world. There's a lot of suffering here, and I could suffer too if I'm not careful. So what happens is very quickly we develop this sort of dark castle, or you could also think of it as a tank. It's like we're all driving around in armored tanks, like, shoot first, ask questions later. Very defensive. And at first, as children, we have no choice. We're dependent on parents, we're dependent on society, and we just sort of adopt whatever negative beliefs, whatever defensive beliefs they have. And we build up this system, and for a while, we're strong as young people. We start out strong. It isn't until later in life that, all that stuff really starts to weigh on you, and you develop illnesses, and you become an older creature, and you need to take care of yourself. But when you're young and strong, it can seem exciting. I got this dark castle of paranoia and conspiracy and good people and bad people, and, cross my path and I'll go into battle mode against you. It's exciting. But then you start realizing as you get older, this thing is in your way. This is blocking the source. And you start realizing this isn't so much a dark castle. This is a fortress of despair. This is a fortress of despair with it's awful. You start realizing all the hopes and dreams that you had as a child, you're just not getting to them because you're so damn defensive and you're so worried about the future and other people have opportunities you don't have, and you're trying to amass enough money, but you never get enough money. You never get enough physically based success to feel secure and safe because you're the spiritual being who needs to be pointed in the direction of source. You need to be drawing upon that source, not seeing life through this dark castle, this fortress of despair. And then as you start working on that fortress and taking it apart, looking at it piece by piece, you start realizing it's not even a fortress of despair. It's just a toxic warehouse, okay? It's a toxic warehouse. This is when you start realizing I don't really believe that the world is meant to be a horrible place with no God and no hope. But I've got these beliefs I keep running into, and I've got all these people that I've been connected with and all these memories I've got to sift through. I got to sort through. I got to heal that stuff, working with emotions like I talked about in the last video. So you get this toxic warehouse, and you chip away at it, you clean it up. And the way you clean it up is you don't run inside, okay? This is the main reason why people hold on to negativity. They don't realize what's happening is they remember what it's like inside, and they remember the lies. There are lies. There are these lies that call you into your toxic warehouse that say you're going to be great, you're going to be rich, you're going to be famous, you're going to be this, that person who actually hates you, they love you. And the person who actually loves you, no, they hate you. Full of lies, full of lies. This is where the devil lives. The classic idea of the devil that always lies, the great deceiver, always giving you the inverse of the truth, always leading you astray, always weakening you, always knocking you off of your game. That's what lives inside this toxic warehouse. So don't go in it. Don't buy the lies. Stick with the truth. Even if the truth is hard to face and you're way weaker and you're way more vulnerable than you thought, talk to the source. Look around your toxic warehouse. Talk to the source. The source will give you step by step what you need. Helpers, real helpers. Let go of the people who in the past who abused you and hurt you. You're right. Lots of people didn't love you. Lots of people abused you and hurt you. But how's it going to help you if you stay bitter and angry at them and blame everything on them? It's not going to help you. It's going to keep you in the toxic warehouse. So there's two main things you can do with your toxic warehouse. Pick another color here. Okay, so one is you can let energy from the source in around the toxic warehouse. And this is things like meditation. This is when you just let go and let the flow. You maximize your happy moments. You go into nature. You hug a tree. You be happy with a pet. Just whatever you can do to allow the happiness. Let the flow of the source get around all the reasons why not, all that toxicity that you grew up with. Just let it come around here. Meditation, just 15, 20 minutes a day, just as much as you can. Just start where you are. There's no wrong answer, right? It's like yoga. There's no wrong answer. Just start doing whatever you can do. Anything to let the energy around your toxic warehouse. And then other times, you're going to be drawn by situations and circumstances. You've got to deal with something in there. You can't get around it. There's a problem in front of you, and it's triggering you emotionally. It's making you scared. It's making you lonely. It's making you angry. It's making you hurt, whatever. That is a calling that you got to take apart more of this toxic warehouse. But like I said, you don't run inside. You don't believe the lies. You don't take spiritual bypassing, shortcuts to heaven, I call it. When people say, I just want to believe things are better than they are, or things are worse than they are, conversely, going into fantasies. Don't do that stuff. That's going into the toxic warehouse. And then before you know it, you start by believing the lies of the toxicity. But then the next thing you know, it's all around you. You're inside the toxic warehouse and you feel hopeless and life is attacking you. And the next thing you know, you're struggling to keep your sanity. You're struggling to keep any sense of optimism. So don't go inside. Don't get lost in it. Just chip away, peel away parts from the outside and ask for help. Ask for help. Believe that there are angels, there are higher beings, there's your own soul family, your own higher self. They're around, they're here. You just don't see them. You just don't sense them with your physical senses. But say, I know you're there. Help me. Help me take down another part of this toxic warehouse. And you got specialists, angels will come in and they'll help to take it down for you. And you do the techniques, all kinds of techniques to change your beliefs, to change your experience. And over time, you will get rid of this toxic warehouse. And let's see, I don't have a way to erase this, but let's just say, instead you plant flowers. You get this nice green growth. Okay, let's have a nice orange flower here instead of the old toxic warehouse. Okay, so this is kind of a silly drawing, but you got the idea. That's my model that I wanted to share with you. So believe it. Life wasn't supposed to be so hard. There is a source who is helping you. You've always been guided. You're an amazing soul being who came in this world to take on some challenges. You just fell into the pit with all the other people that fell into the pit. Earth is an amazingly diverse planet. It's one of the planets where the potential for learning unconditional love straight from the source is really great because there was such a diversity here. So don't try to control the diversity. Abraham Hicks talks about this, that there is contrast in the world. Don't try to control the contrast. A lot of people suffer. A lot of religions and institutions are based on getting rid of all the bad guys, getting rid of all the bad options, making sure that everybody will only do the good, right thing. Guaranteed suffering. You won't be able to do it. Instead, focus on what's right for you, good for you. Clean up your act. Let more and more of the source energy through. And over time, your life will completely transform. And like I said, you may still have to deal with a lot of emotions as you run into situations in life. There's so much to heal on this planet. But there's also billions of people who are waking up with incredible powers of love and tapping into the source. We're going to see joy and miracles grow in this world. Open up. Imagine what an amazing world this would be. And this will be, as you grow your connection to the source, you awaken to the possibility of miracles, and other people will meet you there in that place of hope and joy. You will change, and the rising tide that lifts all boats. Your lows will get higher, your highs will get higher. So you will still have the discomfort of dealing with, this is a difficult world that was built on so much hardship, but you're raising the bar. Everything's changing. So that's my inspiration for you. I hope this helped. And just remember, life wasn't supposed to be so hard. You can make it better day by day. I wish you all the best. Thank you.